Going on, everyone? Finally getting around now that I'm pretty content with the car, making a setup video on the Civic. Going to go through sort of all the things I've done on the car, current setup on the vehicle, and I guess future plans for it as well. I'll go over all the mods I've done, alignment settings, tire settings, brake settings, all that good stuff. So hope you guys enjoy. Let's dive into it. I guess the most obvious thing off the bat would be that the car is converted to full FD2. I got this car in early 2022. It was pretty stock when I got it. It was full HFP, was in really good shape despite being a little bit higher mileage. Got it from a local friend, and I wasn't really gonna convert the car, but the parts started falling into my lap. So I originally had an FD1 front end, all replica stuff, and then I started piecing together more authentic parts as the time went on, and there's still some replica stuff on the car because to get all real parts on these are pretty expensive, but fitment's overall pretty good on the car with all the components. So we'll go over everything I've done to the exterior. In the back here, obviously converted to FD2. We have a Feels GT wing on the vehicle. I always really liked this style. I love the big brackets back here, and it mounts up to the OEM holes on the Type R trunk, which is really cool. Zenki taillights. I prefer the Zenki over the Kuki taillights personally. That's just me though. OEM Type R rear bumper with a Feels diffuser too. It's a little dirty. Car's very dirty right now, I gotta be honest. Then a Jay's Racing tow hook in the back. Moving on to the side of the car, these are Max Racing fenders. I love these fenders ever since I saw their demo car. Really always wanted them. I found a pair for sale in California, had them shipped out here. I love the way it looks. It's one of my favorite parts of the car. I love the vent in the back of the fender there. Side skirts are also Max Racing as well. I had them, a friend of mine, install some riv nuts to the vehicle, so they come on really easily, but they're also very secure at the same time. Then Spoon replica mirrors on the car on the side. The real Spoon mirrors are quite expensive, so I just have replica ones. In the front of the car, it's a replica Ings bumper. It's not the best fitment ever. It took some damage driving to the track my last time going, so that kind of sucks. But then a replica Jay's grill. I have a OEM Type R grill that I like to run on the car. I think it looks a lot better than this replica grill. Then this is, I think, a Cybon replica Mugen hood, and these are depot headlights. Moving on to the interior of the car, has one Recaro pole position in it right now, no other seats currently installed. I'm kind of on the fence of if I want to make this a full time attack car, but I do really enjoy it on the street as well. Then it has a Nardi personal wheel, 330 millimeter, and then a Spoon Boss hub as well. Has the Sawbelt 6-point harness, PCI seat rail. And then back here we have an auto power roll bar, half bar, very easy to install, just a bolt in. And then these RS Pro harness holders, these are super nice. I hate when harnesses are flapping around and making a bunch of noise, so yeah, these are really great if you're trying to cleanly install harnesses on a vehicle. Otherwise, only other thing really in here is Battlecraft shift knob. And up there we have a FK8 Spoon mirror. In terms of engine setup on the car, it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, just bolt-on parts for the most part and tune. Has a Koyrad radiator with the Koyrad aluminum fill neck, hybrid racing intake, full high sport mount kit, I think 70A diameter, not too harsh for the street. Feels pretty good for the most part. Feels oil cap. The other side of the Hotsport mounts, it has a PLM header on it, and that bolts to a full race catback, 3-inch catback, and then just an over-the-air tune on the car. Probably butt dyno around 200-ish horsepower, if I had to guess. I'd like to get it actually tuned at some point, not just over the air, but we'll get there when we get there. Other things too, some hybrid racing hoses. I don't have the hybrid racing shift cables. I have them to install, but I haven't done them yet. Has the hybrid racing bushings installed, all the detent springs in the transmission, all that jazz, and it has a hybrid racing shifter as well. It's impossible to see tucked all the way back there, but it has the hybrid racing slave and master cylinder with the stainless steel line. I also have a Chase Bays engine grounding kit. So in terms of the engine, nothing too crazy, pretty standard, completely unopened engine. Transmission and clutch and flywheel are all stock. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just I like to keep the cars that I track pretty simple. Just keeps them reliable in my opinion, so makes maintenance fairly straightforward as well. Front brake setup on the vehicle are Acura RL calipers with ARP hardware. It's fitted to fast brakes adapters with Hawk Talon rotors off a 350Z track edition. I think specifically it needs these rotors to run the Acura RL calipers on the vehicle. And then I think it's Carbotech XP20 pads in the front and XP10 pads in the rear. The brakes work really good on this vehicle. They are getting a little worn though, so it might be time to replace those. Switching gears a little bit here, we're in my garage now. My phone ran out of battery when recording earlier, so getting right back into it. The normal wheel and tire setup I run on this car, I have a full set of SSR GTX L1s that I have. The front specs on those are 18, 9.5 plus 15, and then the rear pair, which are these ones over here, are 18 by 8.5 plus 38. Rear fitment on these cars is a little weird. Kind of need a very specific size to fit back there. It's not a whole lot of room. I guess front is pretty similar too. Once you start adding camber on a wider wheel, especially with OEM fenders, there's not a whole lot of room. So I think before, when I was on 17s, I had, I think, -4 camber, and the front wheel itself was about maybe a millimeter or two from the coilover collars. So just something to be aware of on these cars. Tire size I run on my car is 255 35 18 in the front and 225 40 18 in the rear. Reverse stagger setup, obviously. I feel it helps the car rotate really well, and with 255 feels like plenty of grip for the car. In the front, really helps pull it around the corners. Also with 18s, the gearing feels a little better on the car. So that was a definite improvement I noticed versus running 17s last season. Otherwise, tires that I normally run on this vehicle are Kumo V730s. They're pretty cheap and they last quite a while, so I don't really have much issues with those. Not as fast as some of the other 200 tread tires, but I really like how these tires feel driving the car. I also have these OG TE37s for the car. I usually run these as track beaters. They're 18, 9.5 plus 12. Not in the best shape. They were off a drift car, so I don't really care too much what happens to them. And then I stole my roommate's RE30s for the rear for now, because I wanted to see how the car would look on a full set of silver Volks, and I really enjoy how it looks all together. So I do definitely want to source another pair of something for the rear of this car. Last bit on the wheel and tire package, I run Assist titanium lug nuts on the car. Suspension setup on the car is Fortune Auto 510 coilovers upgraded with Swiss springs, 11K front and 14K rear. The coilovers, I do really enjoy these coilovers a lot. They feel really good on this car. Spring rates could probably be a little higher, but honestly, it feels pretty good for street and track. No real complaints with the coilovers or the springs stiffness at all. Maybe when I get a little faster or get an LSD in the future, I'll get a little stiffer spring setup for the car, but for now it feels pretty good. Other suspension setup I have on the car has front spoon rigid collars. In the rear has Voodoo 13 camber arms. They're all spherical, really nice solid piece. Highly recommend those. Also in the rear has Progress sway bar with end links. I think they make 2 different versions for the 8th gen. I have the beefier one just to help the car rotate. That's, I feel like, a must-have piece if you're planning on tracking just about any front-wheel drive Honda. I have one on my Fit too, and I really like that on that car. Up front, I just finished installing pretty recently brand new wheel bearings and hubs, and I did ARP extended studs for precautionary purposes. Also in the front, I have Hard Race RCA correcting ball joints and Hard Race front lower control arms with upgraded bushings installed. Last time I weighed the car, it came in at 2,756 pounds. That was with a passenger seat in the vehicle, and I think factory on these cars is around 2,900 something. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to contemplate if I want to take more weight out of the car or put more interior back in the car. One thing I for sure want to do is get rid of the sunroof. I currently have a sunroof, carbon fiber sunroof delete panel. Have not installed it yet, obviously, but I am also highly considering chopping the roof off and doing it that way, putting an LX roof or something like that in the car. I just think it looks a lot cleaner than a insert. Thank you guys for clicking on the video and checking in. I know this video's been a long time coming. I wish I had made it a little sooner, but it took me a while to get this car to a point where I was fairly content with it. Obviously, we'll never be 100% content with any of the cars we build, but that's part of the fun, part of the journey, and part of the experience. So thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. Any questions, feel free to comment. I'll try and answer everyone's questions, and sort of I'm sure there's something I missed here and there about the car, but anyways, thank you again. Hope you guys have a nice evening.